Heat Nation, welcome, welcome. Come on in, sit down. I got a quick math lesson that I want to do for you guys. All right, everyone ready? So you have the number 3, which yes, is more than 2. But what happens when you take 2s and you have a lot of them, and now that number is now more than 3? You get what I'm saying. Okay, so if any OGs remember, I just redid that skit from a video I made 7 months ago about DeMar DeRozan. But the reason this video is actually interesting is because at that time, 7 months ago, we would have had to get DeMar DeRozan via trade. But now, of course, he's a free agent, and there's a few creative things Miami can do in order to sign him. And obviously, there was all kind of rumors yesterday about the Heat being linked to DeMar DeRozan. Some Heat fans love it, some hate it. I personally do like it, but I'll get into why at the end of this video. But the problem is, though, right now, I have no idea what the hell DeMar DeRozan's market value is. He's just coming off a 3-year deal where he basically made like $28 million a year. Now, last season, the Heat could have easily matched that salary. I think Tyler Hero fits pretty perfectly with that number, but they had other avenues like Duncan Robinson or Kyle Lowry. There was ways to get that done. And of course, the Heat still have those matching salaries. They also got Terry Rozier that they could use, but I don't think the Bulls would be interested in those assets because they're all guards. And that's one problem with Miami, is that all of our big money outside of Jimmy and Bam is tied into guards. And as a Bulls team that just traded for Josh Giddey, Kobe White had an excellent season last season. They still love Ayo Dosunmu. They maybe have Lonzo Ball coming back. Probably not, but for his sake, I hope so. I don't think the Bulls are really looking for more guard depth, but who knows? I mean, they're obviously trying to offload Zach LaVine, so maybe they want a guy like Tyler Hero to help replenish that scoring, or a guy like Duncan Robinson that could play off ball with Josh Giddey. So it's possible they might want some of our guys. One obstacle, though, is that it was reported the Bulls actually don't want to do a sign and trade, because in that case, they'd have to take on more money, and that would put them over the first apron of the salary cap, and they don't want to do that for a team that they know is pretty much going to suck. But then again, I also saw a report yesterday from KC Johnson saying that the Bulls are willing to help facilitate a sign and trade with the Lakers. So obviously, like 99% of NBA offseason reporting, nobody knows anything. It's just a bunch of hoopla. But I do think DeMar to LA makes a lot of sense. Obviously, DeMar grew up in Compton. That's just a 30-minute drive from LA. And we've already heard a bunch of reports that LeBron is willing to take less money in order to sign DeMar DeRozan. But I actually think the more likely scenario, at least for the Miami Heat, is that instead of doing a sign and trade, we find another trade to offload one of our guards into a team that has cap space, and then use the cap space that we'd be getting to sign DeMar DeRozan. I know Barry Jackson mentioned that by doing that he could open up the $13 million mid-level exception. And my first thought was, I don't think DeMar DeRozan would take that. And then pretty shortly after that report was released, Chris Haynes also came out and said that DeMar would never take $13 million. And I don't blame him, because that is a pretty massive pay cut considering he could probably get like $25 million on the open market. But then again, I did see a report from Woj who said DeMar DeRozan may be willing to sign a 1-year deal this offseason so he can go into free agency next offseason when a lot more teams have more money because the cap space is higher. So maybe DeMar does take a discount for 1 year. And if that's the case, well, the Heat need to start finding a trade partner to move Tyler or Duncan or Terry. A lot of the teams that we've heard include the Orlando Magic, but I don't think that's an option anymore. They just signed KCP, Mo Wagner, Goga Batadze, Jonathan Isaac. They used all their cap space up quick. I also saw the Detroit Pistons, who got a lot of guards now, like Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. They just drafted Ron Holland, but none of those guards can shoot. So I could see them potentially wanting Tyler Hero. The Utah Jazz also have cap space, and they love their white boys. But Danny Ainge, would he do a deal with Pat Riley? I don't think so. I'm not hopeful on that. And then another team I did see is the Spurs. And I do think Tyler Hero would be a pretty nice fit on that team. I even saw a 3-team deal on Twitter where the Hornets finally get rid of Grant Williams to the Thunder, because for some reason the Hornets signed Grant Williams. And then they've been looking to trade him immediately ever since. But then we send Tyler Hero over to the Hornets, and they send us like a first-round pick that opens up the cap space for us. So the point is, there is a lot of creativity that Andy Ellisberg can do here in order to free up some cap space for DeMar. Now, would I want DeMar DeRozan? Well, the short answer is yes, because at the end of the day, I don't care about his age. I don't care if he's not a three-point sniper. The dude is a bucket, particularly in the fourth quarter, where last year he was number 6 in fourth quarter points per game. And pretty much his whole career, he's been a league leader in that category. Meanwhile, you look at the Miami Heat last year, and they were 28th in fourth quarter scoring, right above the stinky Portland Trailblazers and surprisingly the Phoenix Suns. Actually, that part is surprising, but we know the Heat's offense just sucked in general. You know, in the whole game overall, they were 27th in points per game, and I do think getting a guy like DeMar DeRozan could help that critically, especially that late fourth quarter stuff where we know the Heat offense can get very stagnant. Getting a guy like DeMar DeRozan who can get to his spots and you know it's a guaranteed bucket, that is huge for late game execution. We even saw him cook Jaime Jaquez on an ISO earlier this season when the Bulls beat the Miami Heat. So we've seen it personally. And I know the biggest concern that people have is the spacing, but truthfully, I think the spacing is overrated. Now, not spacing in general. I understand how important spacing is in basketball, but my point is DeMar DeRozan is not Ben Simmons. When DeMar is on the perimeter, defenses are going out there to guard him. He took 3 threes a game last season, shot him at 33%, which is below average, yes, but it's not bad enough where defenses completely sag off him, and obviously the attempts are there where they have to guard him. So I don't think there's a lot of spacing concerns with Jimmy and Bam. I think that whole thing is overblown. Plus, I mean, maybe Bam is a sniper last year with the kind of progressions he took, but you can't rely on that, of course. Now, obviously, the Heat have to take age into play, but DeMar was still pretty decent last year at the age of 34, averaged like 24, 5, and 4 on 48% shooting. So I still think he's a very good player. I'd be cool giving him a 1-year deal, but probably not more than that because he'd be 35 next season, and I just don't want to tie up even more money into an older player when the Heat are likely going to have to do that with Jimmy Butler next offseason. Either way, it seems like the Heat will need to do some creative cap gymnastics to make this work, or DeMar DeRozan would have to take a massive pay cut. So I don't think it's that likely at all. But as a Heat fan, I could hope. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Would you like DeMar DeRozan on the Miami Heat? And if not, let me know why. And I know you're going to say spacing, but like I just said, it's overrated. So tell me I'm wrong. Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe because I'm less than 200 subs away from 5,000, y'all. So make sure to hit that button. I greatly appreciate all the support. And I'll see y'all next time. Let me put it in terms that's easier to understand. Spacing, give me buckets.
Pull up in your city tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.